40.1. So it seems like this lesson was all about introducing us to using briefs. Now, I know briefs are a pretty personal thing. We all have to sort of decide for ourselves how we're going to go about using them, if we use them at all. I think we all keep a list of briefs that we are learning how to use, and for me to deem a brief worthy of going onto my brief list, at the stage that I'm at right now, it basically has to follow two criteria. Number one, it has to be a word that I think I'm going to be hearing a lot of. For instance, today, or legal, or attorney. These are all words that we're probably going to be hearing all the time if we're working as a court reporter. So to me, it sort of makes sense to learn the brief now. But it also has to be instinctual for me. Like I'm really not a huge memory person, so I have to look at the brief and sort of be able to say, hey, that makes sense. And like looking at some of the briefs that we learned in this lesson, like some of them, they were just way too good for me to pass up. Like number, you just have the N on the left with the B, or establish, it's just you have the ST and the B. Like how easy is that? It makes perfect sense to me. So those are the kind of briefs right now that I want to spend my time learning. I don't know if anyone had this problem when I was doing the anything, anymore, anybody, anywhere. With anymore, I kept wanting to stroke like the KPW, and then I kept wanting to hit R instead of M. So how I sort of trained myself to think about that is that on the right hand side, you basically stroke the sound that you hear. So for instance, for anymore, you have the KPW with the M, or anybody, it's the B. And then for instance, like anywhere, where it's more of a vowel sound, you have the KPW with the long A and R. But so far, I like Speed Plus. I like how they give you the vocabulary lists and the briefs, and then it's not just, here's all the words you have to do, but they take the time to make a bunch of sentences for you that incorporate the briefs. And I know sometimes they incorporate several briefs into one sentence. Like I know they had an individual airline, and I happened to take the time to learn the briefs for individual and airlines, so that helped me out a lot. I know something that I'm how I definitely plan to approach Speed Plus is I'm gonna first, write it, like not using the audio, go through it all, but then I'm gonna, put on my earphones and listen to it all on the audio, because I find like it's very easy to just sort of look at the text and tell yourself, okay, yes, I've absorbed it, but it's another thing to listen to the audio. And I think it's really important to, like I know at first I was just going to do the 40-minute dictation and then skip 50 and 60, but I do think it's important to listen to the 40 and then the 50 and the 60. And it can be interesting because at first I was like, oh my God, 60 is so hard. But then you do it and you're getting the words and you're like, hey, maybe this isn't so bad. And then when you go and do the 40 after the 60, you're like, oh my God, 40 is so slow. So yeah, so far I'm feeling pretty good about things. So I will see you in 40.2.